welcome back to another episode of the KarterKast. I'm your host, Carter Bond. Ben, back on Zoom. We didn't go 5 in a row.
No, we almost did it. And sadly, going forward, I don't think we're going to be back in that studio the rest of the season, are we?
No, we got a little makeshift studio coming, which is better. It's going to be better than the one before.
Yeah. So stay tuned. That's going to be fun.
Yeah. I can't wait. Yeah. But yeah, we're back on Zoom for this one. Conference tournament time. We're recording right now. It's 1 a.m., I guess Monday, March 11th in the morning. We're grinding this one all day today. I was watching crappy conference tournaments. I know I said I was excited for conference tournament week, but I'm ready for these crappy ones to get over with. Like Drake and Indiana State was the peak, and now awesome. It's like, let's get the real thing going. Drake Indiana State was literally the best game of the day, or one of the best games of the weekend, actually. Besides Tennessee, Kentucky, I thought it was better than Duke, Carolina.
Yeah, no, it was an electric game. Like, I had a ton of fun watching it. Like, that was the one that I really had circled on my calendar the whole time. But I know we kind of wanted to start off talking with Bubble Watch, which, very much ties into the Indiana State-Drake game. Because if Indiana State won that game, like, it's a one-bid league easily, and there's no debate, really. Indiana State's the team. Drake doesn't have the resume to match up. They're not in. But Drake winning makes it questionable because Indiana State is sort of right on the edge. They're right on the bubble. It's certainly conceivable that they get a bid as well.
Yeah, so that's I did want to start with that, with the bubble watch and everything. Someone tweeted out, I think it was Matt Brown, extra points. I believe, I could get it wrong.
It was him.
He tweeted out, he's like, our Indiana State is just, we need a couple, just come on, guys, like, let's put them in. Let's put them in teams. And I think the better way to put it is, I think the eye test should just matter more when we talk about these teams, because we want the most fun teams. We want the most exciting teams. Like, if we get the right people in the committee that are like, hey, like, these teams are exciting, I think these teams are awesome to watch, then we're going to get teams that are going to be willing to push the pace more, actually push the pace, not in their off-season press conference when every coach comes in and be like, we're going to push the tempo, we're going to shoot threes, and they never do. And I think if you have the eye test matter a lot more, then teams are actually going to be more fun to watch offensively.
Yeah, no, I agree as well. The only thing is, although I agree, I kind of hate to agree because this is like a direct shot at me.
Yeah, look at the shirt you're wearing.
Yeah, except at the same time, though, like although like Virginia's mentioned as like, oh, like it's the explicit like, yeah, but Virginia. I think there's a lot of other power conference schools that are in this conversation that are far less deserving. Because you're talking about a Virginia team that was like single-digit losses, right? Over 20 wins. I pick on Villanova.
Yeah,
they just always lose.
You've been on the anti-Villanova stuff a lot lately.
Well, okay, the reason I am is because, look, like, I understand Kyle Neptune took over, like, it's different, it's hard, but really, it comes down to, like, they're, like, 17-14, right? Like, what are we doing? And they played, they call it the Big Four in Philadelphia, Villanova, Drexel, St. Joe's, and Penn. Yeah. They played all three of them, right? They lost all three. They didn't beat any of them.
But they beat Carolina.
I know, dude. That's what it is. It's stuff like that. It's like they've got a couple big wins that Virginia doesn't. But, like, it at some point, it gets to a point where it's like, if you're losing almost as many games as you win, what are we doing? Whereas Virginia, on the other hand, like, I know they don't pass the eye test. I understand. If they were to get left out, they won't. They're not getting left out. Like, I'd be like, okay, I get it. And I get it to an extent. But at the same time, they're third place in the ACC, 22-9. Like,
but a team like that. But yeah, it is quality of wins, and you have to even it out. I agree with you there. Like, 17-14 is just too gross of a record to put in the NCAA tournament. I think that's what it boils down to. When you see it on the bracket, you're like, they should have been an automatic qualifier from the Atlantic Sun. They should not be from the Big East getting in at large.
Yeah, and like, if you didn't watch them, you would, if 22-9 Virginia got left out, that third place team in their conference, in a power conference, going 13-7 in conference, 22-9 overall, and they missed it, everyone would be like, what? But it's because everyone hates watching Virginia basketball. Again.
Quick fire.
Again. Yeah.
Are you nervous for the Clemson game at the ACC tournament?
No.
I'd be pretty nervous.
Why?
Well, go ahead.
Because the committee thinks Clemson is the best team ever, so losing that game doesn't hurt us.
I think Jerry Palm does. I think Jerry Palm has Clemson above Carolina right now.
It's like they're actually Clemson and Colorado State are in contention for the last 1 seed.
Dude, yeah. Jerry Palm's bracket's disgusting. I think it was watching CBS Sports after the Kentucky-Tennessee game. I had it on the other TV or whatever during Duke Carolina, and they were like, Jerry Palm's bracketology, and he comes on, and like, I understand Jerry Palm has his look and he has his way. I feel like all these bracketologists, they don't have to be weird. Like, why does every bracketologist have to be just super weird? And Jerry Palm, you're like, he has his hair straight down like he's Dwight Schrute in The Office. You're like, Jerry, get a comb, get some Axe gel. Just get a little high school, rub some gel in there, and get the J.J. Watt messy hair look. Like, this, it looks so bad. And they put him in a suit, too, and you're like, what are we doing? Like, just let him wear his sweatpants, his jams on set. Like, what? Stop this.
No, I think they should just honestly zoom in and like don't even pretend. It's just obvious that they're like in their mom's basement. Like they just don't even hide it.
They do the John Clayton commercial, rest in peace, where he's like, John Clayton commercial's like, Mom, I'm done with my segment.
No, literally, they should do that.
I asked Joe Lenardi, I was like, so are you like in the mom's basement? Is it like the John Clayton segment? And I think he got a little offended by that when we asked him on the podcast.
That's so funny. But yeah, but like really back to it. I think Virginia, like if you look at like Joe Lenardi is very like Virginia's fringe, but if you look at like the consensus of bracketologists, over 90% have Virginia in. Most are saying that even if Virginia loses to Clemson, that's okay. I think the biggest issue is like losing by 10 to Boston College.
Yep.
If they were to beat Clemson or Miami even.
Yep.
Miami's the one I'm like, don't really want a part of that.
They're playing for nothing. I mean, they're playing nothing.
Yeah. Which I don't know. That could either be, but I was going to say that could either be a walk in the park or not.
I think that matters for their first game on Tuesday. We'll get into the ACC tournament stuff. But before we get into conference tournament previews, last thing, the Filipowski trip. Carolina beats Duke in Cameron. We got that game wrong. Cormac Ryan drops a 30-burger on Duke. I was on suicide watch after the game, if we're going to be honest. I was very, very, very sad. I texted some people. I said, today is one of those days where I am so thankful I don't live in North Carolina anymore. Because if I was living in North Carolina, I don't leave my house. I don't go to work Monday. We don't leave. We call in sick. Like, yeah, we got to let this loss go away. But the Filipowski trip is going to be the storyline coming out of this game. All right. Do we want the Duke fan perspective or do we want the honest perspective?
Both. Okay,
honest perspective time. The Filipowski trip, he should be suspended. He should be suspended on Thursday, the ACC tournament. He should be suspended 1 game. 2 games is too much. He should be suspended 1 game. Lay the law down. You can't do that crap. I don't think it's okay. You just can't do that crap. You're wearing the Duke jersey. You know what it is. Like, people can say, oh, well, other teams can get away with it and all that. No, you're wearing the Duke jersey. You know what tripping means to Duke fans right now and Duke around Duke and everything. You can't trip. There's no excuse for it. It was super, super, super dirty. Not okay. Duke fan side, Harrison Ingram pushed him first.
Oh, he definitely did.
He gave him the shove.
But like, to me, from the like anti-Duke perspective, I thought he was like trying to get up.
Yeah, but you can't. Are you going to use Filipowski to get up?
If you're tangled on him, yeah. I don't know. It was one of those things that were like, it's like not only because you talked about, oh yeah, like the Duke jersey. Obviously, you're a white guy on Duke. People are going to take notice of you if you.
Yeah, he's a white guy. He's a white guy on Duke.
He's a white guy on Duke, but also you can't do that after the Wake thing, dude.
Yep.
You can't. You just can't.
Yeah.
Like, it's just such a bad look.
From Duke's side again, let's go Duke crazy fan here real quick. Armando Bacot did trip the NC State player earlier in the year where he grabbed his leg. And no one talks about that.
Look, that is the one thing I will agree with you on here is we always talk about like, oh, Duke gets away with this, Duke gets away with that. Like Armando Bacot, it's like the Isaiah Stewart like sprinting after LeBron meme. That's every time Bacot gets the ball. He's wrapping his arm around the defender.
Yeah, you could
call him for a hook. That one they called on Filipowski. They called it a Filipowski. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And then in the background, you just see Coach K looking like just.
Yes, yeah, no, Bacot
staring.
The other thing Bacot does that pisses me off, especially as a Duke fan, but even if you're a basketball player, because it is straight up dirty, is when you're playing basketball and you jump up for a rebound, but right as you jump is when you're most vulnerable. He pushes people right as they first jump, and it's super dangerous, and he does it every single time and never gets called for it. He never gets called for a push in the back or an over the back. He's the only player in college basketball that gets away with that. But Bacot's dirty, but Filipowski can't do that. You can't do that. You can't.
No.
But he did have an awesome second half, and I have a theory about that. I think Coach K was there. Remember, you've seen the stories where Jason Tatum was in the halftime of the UVA game, and Coach K was calling him a P word and a mother effer, and you're this soft kid from St. Louis. I think Coach K went into the locker room and did that to Filipowski in that Carolina game because he came out with 22 in the second half.
He also did it to the Zion, RJ Barrett, Cam Reddish team when they were getting crushed by Louisville.
Yep.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
Like same sort of thing. He had to because John Shire didn't.
There's no way.
John Shire's like, Kyle, it's okay. It's okay, buddy. You got it.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. Like, step it up. We can do this.
Like, we got it, guys.
Coach K, I want like, what if Coach K came back as an assistant? That might be my dream.
Yeah,
I think that might be everybody's dream.
Yeah, Coach K but only if you also get Roy Williams as an assistant for UNC.
He might as well be. He's at every single game, and no one's like, "Oh, Roy, he's here for the attention." Like, Roy, it's such a double standard with that bull crap.
Except that Coach K was like, "I'm not gonna hang around. I'm gonna leave."
True, and Coach K didn't give up his office at Duke, but Coach K's at like 2 games a year.
No, it's fair. I just think you always got to accept that Coach K's gonna have that target on his back. Because he loves to say big, profound statements and then, like, not follow it. Like being like John Calipari, like, basically saying, he didn't directly say this, but be like, we're not doing that one and done crap that John Calipari's doing all over there in Kentucky. And then it's just like, okay, Kyrie, come on in, dude. Come on down.
Then the last decade of Duke basketball in the Coach K era, but yeah, man, Filipowski, it's stupid. The Duke Carolina game, we don't even have to talk about it. Cormac Ryan dropped 30. Cormac Ryan drops 30 on you. You're not beating Carolina. Simple as that.
I was gonna say that I think this pick was unfair because no one told me before the game that Cormac Ryan was gonna drop 30 points, and that Elliot Cadeau was gonna hit that stupid shot at the end.
Yeah, so don't even get me started. But the other thing is, we did say a weird player was going to come out and take over in this game.
We thought it was on the Duke side, though.
TJ Power had more impact than Mark Mitchell. TJ Power played, 4 game minutes and had 7 points, and Mark Mitchell played 20-plus and was just a net negative the whole time. TJ Power should have gotten in more. That's just what I'm saying.
Yeah, he should have, just because he gives you at least just sort of like an element of just shooting that you just needed, especially when the offense was just sort of, and it's just your guards doing sort of like your drive in
with no purpose
pivot. Yeah,
they're driving they're not driving with purpose, and then Yeah, and then Power spreads the floor, and then and they're so much bigger and more athletic than Duke, which is a terrible matchup for Duke, which Carolina is, as we've seen the last 2 times they've played. And when they spread them out, Duke could get to the rim more, which, 2020 hindsight's 2020, but very sad about that.
Yeah, but also, like, the one last point I was going to make is, like, it felt, like, very apparent, and it hit me, like, oh, Cormac Ryan's, like, 25. Baycott's, like, 23. RJ Davis is, like, 22. You know, like, all these guys are old, whereas all the Duke guys are, like, 18, 19, maybe 20. Roach is 21 or 22. But just, like, UNC, it's truly, like, because of COVID rules and stuff like that, and just, like, the transfer portal, like, it's basically like a team of grown men versus a team of college students.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't think about that. And that's not to make an excuse. Duke could just have gone out and gotten their own versions of Cormac Ryan, Jalen Williams. But, like, I think that's the difference in these games.
I think it is, too. And it's annoying when you see Duke fans being like, oh, you guys have a 25-year-old, whatever. It's like, dude, I would take a 40-year-old on my team if it means we beat Carolina. I don't care how old they are.
Yeah.
Like, give me LeBron James on Duke. Like, I don't care. Like, let's do this tonight.
It's very sour grapes.
Yes. But I think you're right. I think just the maturity won out in that game. I think it showed. And Cormac Ryan just hit stupid shot after stupid shot. And it was so frustrating, too, because Duke would not give. Jared McCain should have shot 20 times in that game. And he shot like 11. He should have shot 20 times. You're shooting like 70% from the field. That dude was not missing on Saturday. Just so.
No, he really wasn't. Trust me, I know.
Yeah, this has become the most anti Cormac Ryan podcast. Like we're here
because he's had 2 good games. It was against Virginia and against Duke.
The last thing
if he doesn't go off against Virginia, Virginia wins 44-40.
Oh, if he doesn't go off against Duke, Duke wins by 10.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know, of course, he did in that match, but
oh well. What are you gonna do? Freaking screw. I hope they lose in the second round of the tournament. It's so bad. They're probably gonna win the ACC tournament too.
They very well could.
But before we get into conference tournament previews, we're brought to you by SeatGeek. Download the SeatGeek app today or go to SeatGeek.com. Use code KarterKast for $20 off your first purchase. $50 minimum purchase required. That's on your first purchase at SeatGeek. If you don't have a SeatGeek account, download, create an account. It's super easy. You can link it with your Gmail, your Facebook, your Apple account, however it may be. Download the SeatGeek app or go to SeatGeek.com to get your tickets to your next sporting event. During March Madness, you're going to conference tournament games this week. Use SeatGeek. Use code KarterKast for $20 off your first purchase. $50 purchase minimum required. Download SeatGeek today. All right, conference tournament time. Let's start with the ACC. We've been talking about ACC games. We're going to pull this up right here. Hopefully it shows. You got it? Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple right now, we have the ACC tournament bracket pulled up. We're going to talk about this. We're going to preview. We're going to talk about some dark horses, maybe some betting picks, what matchups we like, storylines between each of these tournament games. If you're watching on YouTube, Spotify, you can see that we have the tournament bracket pulled up right here, and you'll be able to see what we're talking about here. But we'll talk about it through it. ACC tournament, we got the bracket right here. It's finally time. We talked about conference tournaments, how bad we wanted them. You look at the bracket, and it just screams Carolina sleepwalks to the finals.
Yeah, I mean, I think Pitt and Wake, I kind of like them, but at the same time, though, like, out of those, like, first round games, has there been a stronger, like, in the last 5 years of the ACC, like, Notre Dame and Georgia Tech are 2 teams I want no part of.
No, because they're well coached, and they beat Wake. Yeah. They both beat Wake like 2 weeks ago.
Yes, they both have. Like, you could easily see the winner of that game. That's why I'm bummed they're playing each other, because like, I would absolutely be all over. You know, if I was a betting man, I'd be over like Notre Dame money line, Georgia Tech money line, like parlay that. But they're playing each other, obviously. So
yeah,
I guess I think Notre Dame feels like more consistent, but
I know, and I think a lot of people are going to talk themselves into Wake making a run because it's do or die for them in each of these games. But we've seen the last 2 to 3 years with Wake in these do or die situations where it's, hey, play your way into the tournament, play your way into the tournament. They choke against these crap
and
teams.
It's die.
It's die. They lose in Brooklyn to Boston College on Wednesday, and all of a sudden you're on the wrong side of the bubble. And we've seen them lose to Notre Dame and Georgia Tech. I think Wake beats the winner of that game. I think it's where Wake has to use a lot of energy in that game, and all of a sudden, I think they can even beat Pitt too in that next round. But by the time they get to Carolina, they're going to be so cooked.
No, that's the problem. Is being the 5 seed. That's just huge. Like getting a double bye is just so massive because especially like Virginia, they could either be playing like Clemson. But like they could get Miami. Let's say Hot Miami comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Is Hot Miami beating Virginia on their 3rd day and Virginia's 1st day?
Probably not, especially because
that's a big ask.
It's going to be a very home Virginia crowd too in DC.
Yes, and their Miami basketball fans don't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah, I remember buying ACC tournament tickets in Greensboro. We had a friend in Miami that had a connection to the University of Miami. It's like, hey, can we get your book from them? Because we know none of y'all are coming up.
Yeah. No, exactly. I think, I don't know. It's hard not to say UNC Duke.
It really is, but it feels, I think Duke, I don't see a world Duke loses Thursday. I might eat my words, but I don't see a world they lose to State or Syracuse.
Mm-hmm. Can you see a world where they lose to Virginia or Clemson?
Yeah. I do. I could see them losing in the semis.
I could see look, I'm not trying to gas up this Virginia team. I think that was misconstrued last week. But couldn't you see it's a dumb, bad ACC year. Virginia sleepwalks to the finals against UNC and then UNC boat races them. That seems like something that could happen.
Yeah,
UNC wins 65-44 against Virginia after Virginia inexplicably beats Duke.
Yeah, I'm very worried about Virginia Clemson though.
Yeah. No, I mean I don't like that either, but I don't know. I think this Clemson game, it's one, as I said before, I think it's winnable. Like Clemson doesn't feel like too tall of a task. Not saying that we win that game, but at the same time, it's also, I'm more focused on the bubble perspective for Virginia. And I'm like, look, if they lose that game, they're not certainly in. I don't feel sure that they're in, but I still think they're probably in because I just think that doesn't hurt them from a resume perspective. I think the committee won't give Virginia crap for losing to Clemson because they think Clemson's better than they are. Virginia beats Clemson though. Virginia's a 10 seed. They're out of Dayton.
Yeah, I think they get out of Dayton if they beat Clemson. And
I agree.
The other thing, I do want to say this.
I think they're Dayton if they lose.
Especially if Virginia loses on Thursday night against Clemson. We have to live stream the Selection Sunday because it's going to be a 10 Selection Sunday for you.
Oh, it is. It really is.
We'll have to live stream it. But yeah, talking about the bubble real quick, I think Wake Pitt's a play-in game for the NCAA tournament.
I think it very well could be, especially if Wake. I feel maybe more so with Wake, just because Wake is going to be piecing together. I mean, not a quality win, but I think it matters getting that extra win in there.
I don't see a world if Wake doesn't get to Friday night, they're not in the NCAA tournament.
No, and even if Pitt got to Friday night, I don't know.
But
that's why I feel good about Virginia, because I think the part of the committee is going to go, especially if Wake and Pitt don't do anything.
Yeah, they're not gonna make it a 3-bit ACC.
We got to put Virginia in there. Yeah. Anyway, we don't have to keep.
You're
saying Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina, real quick. you don't see a world where they get upset by VT or FSU, because I think that might be getting overlooked. Because could we see because VT is weirdly just sniffing around the bubble. They're like, hey, what's going on here? Like, I might hang out here a little bit. Hunter Couture, like 5 threes game against Carolina. Carolina comes out slow at the noon tip-off.
I think you can never say never, especially with like Hunter Couture. He's an ACC tournament legend.
Yeah, unfortunately, he destroyed Duke.
Yeah, and he destroyed
in Carolina.
Well, maybe I'm not sure what he did specifically, but Virginia Tech but beat Carolina in the semis.
And then he crushed Duke. He crushed Duke in the title game. So
he did.
Paolo Banchero after the semi game was like, we want UNC, and then VT won, and then we lost to VT.
Yeah. I think this is shaping up. I think if you're a Duke fan, you got to feel decent about like, are you losing to UNC a third time?
Yeah, so as a Duke fan, I don't know if I want that matchup. There's a small part of me where I'm like a scared puppy, where I'm like, you know what? I think I'd rather lose on Friday night to Virginia or Clemson and just get it out of the way. And also, I almost don't want to be the ACC tournament champion to where it puts that big target on your back. And everyone's like, ooh, Duke is hot. Everyone's going to pick Duke. Everyone's going to bet Duke. Like, they're the team right now. And right now, I think Duke is sneaky in a good spot to where everybody's kind of anti-Duke after that Carolina game. And that's where I like Duke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels like they bounce back every time. But at the same time, though, like, I think there's been too many of these situations where you're just like, like that was just uninspiring.
Yep.
Like, they're like a good team. But also, like, I thought about this. They just concern me outside of their top 3.5 players. Just sort of like,
Yeah, well,
it's like you got the 3 guards, you got Filipowski, and then everybody else is meh.
I think they just did a poor job of developing guys like Sean Stewart and TJ Power throughout the year, because this is the time you kind of need those dudes. Like, I think Power is good enough to step into that role, but he's slow on his feet and can get cooked defensively. And Sean Stewart, he's got the athleticism of JaVale McGee, but he's got the mind of JaVale McGee. So he can be on Shaqtin' a Fool, or he could be number 1 on SportsCenter on any given play.
Yeah, and Mark Mitchell, he's just kind of rough.
He's transferring. He's a transfer guy.
Yeah, it just hasn't worked out this year.
Okay, real quick, give me a dark horse.
Dark horse, I'm gonna say Miami.
Miami going Tuesday to Saturday.
Oh, to win it.
To win it.
Okay, sorry.
Give me a dark horse to win the ACC tournament.
I think I gotta say Wake.
Really?
Yeah.
They seem like the obvious pick.
I just think they have more upside. And if it's not Wake, it's Pitt. I think Virginia isn't like they aren't gonna go out and just like they could make the championship and lose to UNC by 15. I feel confident that like that could happen. But like they're not winning it. I don't think Clemson doesn't have like that upside to win it. I think Wake and Pitt have the upside out of those non-UNC Duke teams to get hot and just win it. I'd say Wake 1, Pitt as like a close 2.
You want to hear Vegas odds for the tournament? My pick is my dark horse pick is Pitt, ironically. So I think Pitt. I think they can give Carolina trouble. We've seen Blake Hinson. He can just be that guy for them. Betting odds. Carolina and Duke are the favorites right now at plus 150 on DraftKings. So they're the favorites. They both have the same odds to win this. I think if you just bet both of them to win it, I think you have a very, very, very high likely chance you're going to win some money. If you just bet both of them and just take the other stuff on the plus side. Clemson plus 850 is third favorite as the 6th seed. I don't like that at all. Wake Forest plus 900. Pittsburgh 12-1. Virginia 19-1. VT 30-1, and it just goes down a cliff after that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of those things where like Clemson is going to be overvalued, I think, from a committee standpoint and an odds standpoint for the ACC tournament because they were really good in November and December. Like, they're a 6 seed for a reason in the ACC, which is because these ACC teams have just been going out and beating them. So
wouldn't it be funny to get Wake Duke in the ACC title game, the Revenge of the Court Storm game?
That would be funny. I could see Wake winning it would be like it'd be like Virginia Tech winning it.
I think Wake winning it would be the best case scenario for the conference.
It would be, especially if like Virginia gets a win. It's like, okay, Virginia's in.
You just can't like. You're like,
No,
okay, they can win it, but we have to get that win.
No, but my point is that like they can justify putting Virginia, but putting Virginia in, and then Wake can be in too, and it's like 5 bid, perfect, you know?
Yeah, 5 bids.
Anyway,
great. I hope we get 5 bids, but
yeah.
All right, and then finish it off. Give me your title game and your pick to win it.
Carolina, Virginia. Carolina beats Virginia 65-44.
All right. I'm going to go chalk. I think it's Carolina Duke round 3. It's hard to beat a team 3 times. I'm going to eat my words here. I think Duke beats Carolina in DC at the ACC tournament 81-77.
My favorite is just the UNC's going to win. Like Duke doesn't really have a shot here. Score prediction. Well, Duke's going to win. But
yeah, I can't quit him. I can't quit Duke.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
I'm a slut for Duke. All right. That's it. That's our ACC tournament preview.
Cool.
Let's move on to the next one. I can cut these in between. Let's see here. Where do you want to go next? Where do you want to go? You want to go to Nashville? Do you want to go to Kansas City? Do you want to go to the Big Ten?
I kind of want to go to Kansas City.
All right, we're going to Kansas City. I will be there tomorrow night. I am very excited. Big 12 bracket. We'll get this pulled up. All right, Big 12 tournament. Big 12 tournament. We got it right here. I will be in Kansas City all week. As long as BYU's there, I'm there. So I fly.
That's an ugly graphic.
It is a very ugly graphic. I don't like it. If you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, very ugly. Or if you're watching on the Twitter broadcast live right now, very ugly graphic from the Big 12 on their official tournament bracket. But yeah, I will be there. I'm very excited. I've never been to another conference tournament, so I've only been to ACC. I'm very excited to see what Kansas City's all about. And I have a barbecue redemption time for Kansas City because I had Kansas City barbecue last time I was there. Very, very bad. I was like, this is very overhyped. I thought Carolina barbecue and Texas barbecue were just so far ahead of them. It wasn't even close. I'll go for my redemption tour this week in Kansas City plenty of times. The diet died this weekend. So we're back. We're back to being fat.
It's over.
Yeah. So I told myself I'm packing right now for it. And I packed like 3 sets of workout clothes. Be like, yeah, I'm going to go down to the hotel gym. I'm going to work out each morning before the games. I love the delusional thinking.
Shot.
I think Duke's going to beat Carolina again, and I'm going to work out while I'm in Kansas City watching basketball. My brain is so delusional. It's insane. But speaking of delusion, the Big 12 tournament, BYU. We got the 5 seed. This is a weird bracket. There's a weird bracket because I see about 10 teams, not 10, I don't like Oklahoma. I think 9 out of the 10 teams could win this thing.
Is it you said 9?
Yeah, I think 9 out of 10 of these. 9 out of 10. I think the top 10 outside of Oklahoma could make a run at this thing.
Oh. I would argue Kansas can't win it.
My only caveat is they get to play in Kansas City, so they get to play 30 minutes away. They're going to have a home court. So and McCullough might just pop if they're playing, if they're healthy. That's assuming they're healthy. So yeah, but I wouldn't pick Kansas by any means.
Yeah.
Who do you? Let's do dark horses to start off. Who do you like as a dark horse?
It's going to be kind of an obvious biased answer from my perspective, but I just think if you shoot like the volume of threes that BYU does, like especially I feel like they're playing good ball lately. That's a team that I expect to see them in the semifinals.
Is that crazy?
Frankly,
because I do too.
I expect them to be playing Houston in the semis.
My biggest concern is they overlook a UCF team. Because UCF has proven they can beat TCU. They can beat these really strong teams.
And especially we be beating them. We be playing them a third time. And
it's hard to beat a team 3 times, like I said. I think BYU is the correct pick for a dark horse here. I like 3 dark horses here. I know that's a cop-out answer. I like BYU, and I like the winner of Kansas State, Texas. I think the winner of Kansas State, Texas could find themselves in the Big 12 title game.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think here's what I think happens. I think when you get a semifinals of Houston and BYU, Houston beats BYU.
Yep.
I'm good. Oh man, you're gonna be so happy I'm saying this. I think Houston beats Texas. So Texas is sort of my dark horse, actually. Texas and BYU are co-dark horses, but I like TCU and Kansas State too.
TCU and Kansas State. Yeah, I know. And I think TCU is going to give Houston a run for their money because we've seen teams on Thursday, they come out a little rusty. You know, you're off for 5 days. These teams get to play the night before. They get, they're just used to the court. They're used to the environment. I think that helps. I hope that helps BYU from a bias perspective. But yeah, I think the Kansas State-Texas game is going to be the most fascinating game because Kansas State firmly on the bubble. They need to make it to the semis to even have a shot at getting in the tournament. And if they make it to the semis, you get a win over Texas. You get a win over Iowa State, who's top of every analytic model. And then who's to say they couldn't beat Baylor or Kansas?
Yeah. No, they certainly could.
So
they very well could.
So dark horses, Kansas State, they're plus 30,000 to win this thing. I think those odds are way off for this thing. They're also going to have home crowd there in Kansas City. Texas is plus 3,000. They're 30-1. BYU 15-1. I love that to win the conference tournament because we talked about it. BYU's path isn't bad if you're listening right now on Spotify or Apple. They get to play the winner of Oklahoma State, UCF, and then if they win that, they get to play Texas Tech, and people are like, oh, well, BYU lost to Texas Tech, but they were dominating Texas Tech for, 30 minutes out of that game in Lubbock, games on a neutral court. I like BYU's chances there, and I think Vegas does too.
Yeah, I agree. And I think really my big thing that I'll point out is whoever wins Kansas State, Texas, I would love from a betting perspective, money line versus.
Oh, yeah. Auto play. Whoever wins that game, because they're going to be the hot team. Because that's going to be the only way I see that Texas-Kansas State game being a blowout is if Kansas State just throws in the towel, which they've done sometimes this season. But I don't see that happening in that game. I think that's going to be a dogfight from start to finish. And then Iowa State, they're fragile right now. They are a team very much on the decline. They are kind of getting exposed a little bit. And Iowa State fans, they were feisty in our TikToks, man.
Yeah, look, I get it. They've had the regular season success. They've been undefeated at home. Like, they deserve credit for that. But a team that's elite, trust me, I know. I'm an expert in this. A team that's elite defensively but doesn't have the efficiency numbers on offense to back it up. That's an upset recipe in postseason play in March. And so I think Iowa State, I anticipate they'll be one and done in this. And at the same time, I would lock of the century, Baylor's not losing their first game.
No.
They're not. I'm not saying honestly, I see a way in which they don't make the championship, but I have never felt so sure. Out of all of these teams, I am the most confident Baylor will be in the semifinals, including Houston. But I feel more confident that Houston will win it than Baylor, but I feel more confident that Baylor won't lose on Thursday.
Even with Kansas playing basically a home game.
Yes, because I'm out. I'm done with them. It's over.
I am too. We talked about it. We said second weekend. What do we think? Let's update that answer. How far do you think Kansas gets in the NCAA tournament? What percentage would you say they get to the second weekend?
25, 30%.
I think it's still 25%.
We'll see. Look, I don't like spoiling things. We'll check on the matchups. I might be picking a 14 over a 3.
But even if they might fall out, if other teams perform, they might fall down to the 4 line. If you look at their resume, that UConn win is so big for their resume. That UConn win was so big, and so yeah, but they're so bad away from Fog Allen.
Imagine a 4 seed Kansas versus 13 seed Samford.
Yeah, or if like somehow Drake doesn't fall into that 12 line, Drake gets put into the 13. I mean, there's no way Kansas gets out of that game.
Yeah, Tucker DeVries just cooking Hunter Dickinson in his one shoulder.
Would Drake be favored in that game? It would probably be like a 2-point spread. It would be that
It
bad.
sounds crazy, but yeah. I think from like if you know Kansas basketball, like you know this team is just sort of dead in the water right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And there are injuries too, like what Bill Self was saying and all that. But let's breeze through this real quick. Give me we said our dark horses. Give me
Texas and BYU for me.
Yeah. Texas, BYU, and I said Kansas State as a sprinkle if you're betting on the tournament. Give me your title pick and who's winning it in the Big 12.
I am going to say Houston beats Texas 71-60.
I was gonna pick the same thing. I was gonna pick the exact same thing, to be honest. But let's go outside the box too. I'll go outside the box too. Give me BYU Baylor in the Big 12 title game, and Baylor wins 83-70.
Okay, I could see that. I do think like this Baylor team's got upside. Like I don't think they're a bad team at all. I think they're a very solid team. But like Houston is head and shoulders above everyone else in this conference.
Yeah, the positive, the way I would look at Houston in this tournament, there's 2 ways to look at them. Is one, they don't need this. Even if they lose first round, they're still a 1 seed. They've got the 1 seed locked up in the NCAA tournament. The thing is, they could be playing for a potential 1 overall, but the issue is they're probably behind Purdue right now when it comes to the seeding, and Purdue's not losing the Big Ten. I know we're spoiling that conference preview, but I don't see a world where Purdue loses the Big Ten tournament. So therefore, it's like, what are you really playing for? Will they get bumped up? Is it worth getting to that 2-3 line, risking injuries? I don't think so.
No, I agree.
All right, let's go to the Big Ten real quick. Let's breeze through this one. This one should be a joke. We just got our bracket tonight, and we'll get this pulled up as soon as possible. Window, Big Ten. Here we go. Big Ten tournament preview time. Real quick, dark horse. Can you say a 3 seed Nebraska is a dark horse or a 10 seed Ohio State?
I wanted to say Nebraska. I feel like you can't say Michigan State, even though I want to.
Yeah, but
you know what? I'll go.
Real quick before you said it.
Oh,
stop that! Stop Indiana. No. But the funny thing is, you look at this bracket, you're like, could Indiana F around and find themselves in the semis?
That's all I'm saying. No. That's all I'm saying is that they could make the semis. If there's a team that, I think the dark horse, if you're going from a dark horse, like, I know they're the 3 seed, but I really think Nebraska's the dark horse. Just because of how heavy of a favorite Purdue's got to be.
I'm trying to get odds pulled up for it. I want to see what Vegas has for this because I'm curious. Big Ten tournament odds. They don't have Big Ten tournament odds out yet anywhere because it just came out today. So, yeah, because like I don't believe in Northwestern. They're kind of falling apart at the wrong time. Nebraska, I think it would, because you can't say no way Ohio. I mean, could Ohio State? There's a world Ohio State's playing in the Big Ten finals.
Yeah, and like I think if they do that, they're like creeping in the conversation.
Yeah.
The Mark Titus content from that would be amazing.
It would be. It's funny. You see Michigan State. You see them as an 8 seed. You're like, Izzo's like, let's go. That's all I wanted. It's like we got the 8 seed. That's it. We're good. season's over. Like we can play loose now. I feel like they just need to see a 7 or 8 seed next to their name, and they can just play loose.
No, I agree. Like, they just want that for the Big Ten tournament and the NCAA tournament. But at the same time, though, like, Michigan State, Tom Izzo's the type of guy who's like, I just want to bow out of this Big Ten tournament. Like, I could see, like, they lose by 7 to Minnesota. He's like, okay, 10 seed time next week. Let's go.
Does feel, everybody on Thursday, you're going to see on Twitter, everyone's just going to be betting Michigan State, and everyone's going to be betting
Minnesota might be the move there.
Yeah, fade the public play right there. Maybe so. And it's in Minneapolis, too.
A home game. All the Golden Gophers are going to be there.
Dude, I might be a Golden Gopher myself. All right, let's breeze through this. We said our dark horses. Give me the title pick and who's going to be in the Big Ten championship.
I think Purdue is going to beat Nebraska.
Yeah, give me a score prediction for that.
81-66.
Yeah, I think it's a blowout too. I think Purdue wins it. I don't see a world where Purdue doesn't win it. I'll go Purdue, Illinois. Let's go chalk. Let's go Purdue, Illinois. And I think Purdue wins in a 6-point game. I think it's close all game. Braden Smith, they hit some free throws at the end and pull away. I think that's it. This is a gross tournament, by the way.
It is. I'm not, but at the same time, I'm going to be excited. I'm going to, like, turn on Minnesota, Michigan State and be like, I'm excited to watch this.
Should we get another gross tournament out of the way?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. This is gross. I'm warning you. Viewer discretion advised. It's the Pac-12 tournament. The last one.
Wait. Oh, my eyes.
Yeah, viewer discretion advised.
Oh my gosh.
If you're watching on YouTube or Spotify right now, it's so gross.
Whatever.
I know it is just a straight up whatever.
Whatever, man.
I don't want to preview this at all. I'll say this: I'm rooting for Cal, for Mark Madsen, my guy. Love Mark Madsen. I'm rooting for Cal in this tournament, and I'm rooting for Utah to lose to Arizona State because I think that's the funniest possible outcome in this game or in this tournament. Because then Utah's officially donezo.
I think they already they would have to do something crazy at this point. Should we just dark horse? Let's just get our dark horse and championship.
Yeah. Let's wrap this one up.
Okay. Dark horse UCLA because it's UCLA and Mick Cronin. I'm gonna say Arizona is I don't think Arizona repeats a loss to USC, but I do think they lose to UCLA in the semis because that feels like a this year Arizona team to do. I'm going to say Washington State wins the Pac-12 tournament 81-76 over UCLA. Washington State over UCLA 81-76.
That's gross. My dark horse pick, give me Cal. Let's rock with Mark Madsen and the fellas. Jalen Cone, Fardaws, Amac. Let's rock with Cal.
What's his face? Yeah. Who's their best player? What's that guy's name?
Tyson.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that guy's good.
Cal plus 13,000 to win this thing. So, if you like free money, don't bet that. I'm gonna go Arizona, Washington State. I'm gonna go chalk. It's lame. It's boring. No, screw it. Arizona, Cal in the final. Give me Arizona beating Cal by 5 in the Pac-12 title game. Arizona, Cal. And that's it. Oh, by the way, Big Ten. The Big Ten odds. Purdue's even money. Illinois 3-1. Michigan State has the 4th best odds to win it.
Yeah, I mean that checks out. I wouldn't be taking that.
No. Ohio State is only 35-1 to win as the 10 seed. I thought that was crazy.
That is crazy.
All right, let's get a good one. We just did 2 miserable ones. This is the worst graphic of them all. You're probably gonna have a stroke trying to read this one. I don't know how I couldn't find a better one, but it is what it is. We're going to Nashville. It's the SEC tournament. So good luck reading that if you're watching on Twitter or on YouTube or Spotify.
What is the...
Yeah, it's bad. Tennessee's the 1 seed. We got Kentucky as the 2, Bama 3, Auburn 4. This is a very exciting tournament, though. I mean, you look at the potential Thursday games. You've got Tennessee, Mississippi State, Auburn, South Carolina. You got Kentucky, Texas A&M, and then Florida, Alabama. Florida, Alabama is the game I'm most anticipating out of those.
Yeah, no, I agree. This feels like a prime spot for like Alabama and Auburn. Feel like they will. This could be a good spot for them. I don't know what it is. I just have a good feeling about them. And I don't like their general outlook for the season and in the tournament either. But I could see them sort of being like, this is what we need. Whereas Tennessee and Kentucky sort of like more focused on the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, because I think I could see Tennessee. I feel like it's going to be one way or the other. I almost don't want them to win the SEC tournament as someone who has who's backing Tennessee in the NCAA tournament, where you're like, okay, then that's really going to put a target on their back. And for some reason, I just don't see them winning this thing. Like I feel like it's never a 1-2 in the SEC title game. Never a 1-2.
No, it really never is.
We'll breeze through these. We're going late today. Dark horse. I think we have the same dark horse here. It's Florida.
I was gonna say Florida.
Yeah, I assume we have the same one. They're 20-1 to win this tournament. You could tell me Florida wins this thing. I wouldn't be surprised. I might pick them to be in the title game.
Okay.
I know they lost to Vanderbilt, terrible loss, but this is a team that they can beat anybody. I mean, anybody.
No, they really can. They've got talent. They've got a lot of size and a lot of talent. And yeah, they're a good team. They're a team as a 6 or 7 seed that could very well make the second weekend.
But if you told me Mississippi State upset Tennessee Thursday morning,
not shocked.
Not shocked at all.
Nope. Dalton Connect shoots bad. I could see.
Yeah. He just gets. They just weirdly Mississippi State just kind of just plays the Virginia style, and Mississippi State is playing for their tournament lives as well. So that's kind of a bad matchup for Tennessee, in my opinion. And you could say the home crowd in Nashville, whatnot. But give me title game and title winner in the SEC.
I'm going to say that we get the Iron Bowl, and I'm going to say that Bama beats Auburn 100-96. And I think this is a game. I think I like Tennessee and Kentucky more. I was leaning Kentucky going into this podcast, but I actually think this is a spot where Alabama and Auburn will want it more than Tennessee and Kentucky, and they're going to lose in the first weekend, whereas Tennessee and Kentucky are going to be playing in the second weekend in the tournament. But yeah, I like Alabama to beat Auburn, and I think that will get the general public, the casual college basketball fans, all in on both teams, because they'll just be shot making,
it's going to be such
sweating through his shirt. Yeah, it would be, and it would be so exciting when you watch an exciting game. You get tricked into thinking both teams are really good. I think that happens here.
I think it happened today,
and they both bow out quick. Drake and Indiana State.
100%
I think it'd be a similar type of game.
And also, I think another benefit to that, to add to your belief about that, is that the game's Sunday. And so everyone's going to be tuning into those games Sunday, getting ready for Selection Sunday and their brackets and everything. So there's going to be a lot of eyes on that game.
And they're going to be like, oh, these teams are great.
Yep.
And have them in the Final Four, have them in the Elite Eight, and they'll bow quick.
Yep.
That's my pick.
I think Auburn makes the title game too. I think it's Auburn, Kentucky, and I think Auburn wins the SEC tournament. I think Auburn wins 91-89 SEC title game. Give me Auburn.
Mm-hmm. I like that pick a lot.
All right, we got I think the Big East is our last one. I think that's it.
I forgot about the Big East.
Yeah, I kind of did too. Not gonna lie, but I'm curious to see your thoughts on this bracket, on how this graphic looks. Let's see here. Share screen. Boom. How do you like it? How do you like the graphic?
Oh, that's an amazing graphic.
It's so aesthetically pleasing, and you got the trophy, and like the team. It's beautiful.
I love it too. This is amazing.
If you wanted betting odds for like those dark horse picks or anything like that, the SEC odds are gross. Like Tennessee's plus 130, Auburn's plus 260. Auburn's weirdly the second favorite, which makes me like them even more. Kentucky's 4-1, and then Alabama's plus 450. So I wouldn't bet on a winner anywhere there. But let's do the Big East tournament. We got the bracket pulled up. This is the last one we're going to preview. This looks like it just UConn sleepwalks to the title game, right?
I would think so.
I think it is too. I really don't see a world where it's not UConn versus. Can I be lame here? I think it's UConn Creighton.
I think
Saturday
it's UConn
night.
Creighton too. Who if you see a dark horse make it, who is it?
Providence?
I was gonna say St. John's. Some Rick Pitino magic.
Yeah, in the Garden.
He wears the white suit. He wears the white suit in the Garden.
If he wears the white suit, it's game over. But
and they beat UConn.
In the Garden, they're playing for their lives too. But I just don't think that St. John's team can play two halves. They're maybe the best first half team in college basketball history, but they can never put it together in that second half.
And they're slow laterally.
Yes. Pitino even said that.
that was the joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, though, yeah, I could see that's more of a fantasy land type prediction. I do think St. John's is my dark horse.
And
you said UConn Creighton's your title game?
Yeah, I'm going UConn Creighton title game. Give me UConn wins 80-73.
I'll say that Creighton wins 82-80.
I don't see a world because also we look at Marquette. I don't think Tyler Kolek plays.
No, I think he's getting. If he's not hurt, like missing the season hurt, I think he's being held out, and they're like, "Look, we'll take the lump in this game and just get everyone ready to go for the tournament."
Yeah,
because this is a team they won the regular season and tournament last year. Is that correct?
Yes.
I think, and like after losing in the first weekend, after winning the Big East outright, regular season and tournament, like I think they're like, it's the same group of guys. They're like, cool, we don't care, been there, done that. We want to do what UConn did last year.
Yeah.
So,
I agree. And the other thing is too. Let's talk. I think as a Virginia fan, this is a disaster for you because Villanova is going to play a depleted Marquette team, and Nova can beat Marquette without Kolek, and that win is going to look as good as if he played. Therefore, especially on a neutral court as well, Nova might play their way into the tournament just by beating a subpar Marquette team.
Yep. But I don't sleep on DePaul. I'm kidding. Joke. I'm kidding.
What if DePaul pulled the 2021 Georgetown and they beat Nova in the first game?
Dude, it will still shock me that Georgetown, the Big East most outstanding player, or the Big East, tournament most outstanding player that year was Dante Harris, the backup point guard for Virginia, because he went like nuclear for like 4 days.
And then Georgia Tech also won the ACC tournament by playing 2 games.
Yeah, because Virginia like forfeited because they got COVID,
and Duke forfeited too. And
that's right.
Face Shield. Shout out the Face Shield. Love you, Josh Pastor. Yeah, I don't see
that guy seems like he's the man.
Oh, we need to have him on in the off season. We need to have him back on in the off season. Big East tournament. I'm trying to pull up the odds real quick. I got it right here. UConn's minus odds. Creighton plus 425. I think is actually really good value. I actually think that's actually a great bet. If I was going to take anything, I think I would take Creighton. There's no such thing as a dark horse in this one. Like I don't think Providence beats Creighton. They might even lose to Georgetown for all I know. Butler Xavier. that one's going to be a fun game. That feels overtimey to me, or buzzer beater. That's going to be every social media account on Wednesday afternoon tweets out like, Butler hits a buzzer beater against Xavier.
I was gonna say it's Butler. It's a Thad Matta. What a coaching matchup there. Sean Miller versus Thad Matta.
Yeah, that is a great coaching matchup.
I like that.
What about Ed Cooley in Georgetown and Providence? That's so stupid. Do you think Jeff Goodman's going to be there?
Oh, dude, yeah. He has to be. It's Ed Cooley's best friend.
All right. That's it for the Big East. I'm not very excited for that, but if you're a Big East fan, you have to be kind of excited that, like, if you're just kind of a neutral Big East fan, which I feel like there's a lot of for some reason, you're getting UConn Creighton.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, too, where it's like, look, it's sort of like the ACC tournament. Of course, we have, dogs in the fight. But, like, a lot with the Big East tournament, it's like, it's the Big East tournament in Madison Square Garden. Mm-hmm. That's always kind of fun, and I'm always going to tune in and have a good time. So,
what about the ACC tournament at Capital One Arena?
At the Barclays Center. No.
Did you see the ACC courts?
No.
It's bad. So, like, the court designs, whatever, they put on the baselines, instead of putting, like, Greensboro, North Carolina, or, like, Washington, D.C., on the baselines, they put accomplished greatness.
That sounds like those dumb Nike, like, March Madness shirts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this year it's...
Like, Duke accomplished greatness with the Nike check.
Yeah, Virginia Energy. So bad.
Awful, dude.
All right, that's right. That was a great show. I'm so excited.
I agree.
I'm going to Kansas City this week. We'll be back. Next episode is Selection Sunday. That's crazy.
It'll be Selection Sunday night that we're going to be when we're going to be just doing our brackets, right?
Yeah, we're going to be doing the brackets. TBD. I'll put it out on Twitter whether we'll be live or not. I haven't decided if we want to go live or not. If Virginia's really on the bubble, we have to go live, and we have to get that reaction immediately.
Really, if Virginia wins Thursday, so basically if Virginia wins Thursday, we're not live. If Virginia loses on Thursday, we are live.
We are 100% live if Virginia loses on Thursday.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so we'll be back next Sunday. Tune in for that. We'll be doing brackets and everything. KarterKast Bracket Challenge is coming back this year. I'll put out a graphic and everything for that, too. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you're listening. Follow at BD Hammond, at CarterBA, at KarterKast on all social media. And we'll be back next Sunday. Like I said, download SeatGeek, use code KarterKast for $20 off your first purchase. If you're going to conference tournaments this week, use code KarterKast at SeatGeek. Helps us out a lot. Thank you so much for SeatGeek sponsoring today's episode. And it's getting late. It's like 2 a.m. Eastern, so we're done here. We'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.